just before add that I have a longer statement for the record, which I would like to be included.
Without objection, so ordered, and that goes for all of your statements and anything else you would like to attach to them.
Thank you. I've traveled 15 hours to get here, so I apologize in advance to the Commission if I go a tad bit over my time. I could stand here today and talk about all the injustices unfolding in Pakistan, but today I want to give you the context, the story behind the headlines, so you can truly get a grasp of what is happening and why. Let me start with the event that shattered whatever remained of a Pakistan democratic facade, the general elections of February 8th, 2024. These were the most brutally rigged elections in Pakistan's history. The rigging started months earlier than the actual election day. They stole the symbol of our very part of the party, which was the cricket bat, so voters couldn't identify us on the ballot. Our candidates were forced to contest as independents, creating chaos and confusion. Nomination papers were rejected, rallies were banned, banners were torn down, flags were forbidden, leaders were jailed, exiled, driven underground. Many of them are here today. Yet the people of Pakistan rose to the challenge. And one of the highest turnouts in our history, the Pakistanis came out and voted for change. Independent data and independent observers have both shown with academic fact that PTI-affiliated candidates have won over 170 to 180 seats in the existing parliament. Unfortunately, overnight, from 24 to 72 hours, those results were all changed. As a result, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf couldn't form a government. Brutality continued. There were too many votes for even the constituency that even held the amount of constituents. So if a constituency had 400 votes, somehow the person who got the vote changed in Form 47 had 450,000 votes. So overnight, populations grew by 50 to 100,000. Let me be very clear that Pakistan's 2024 elections were neither free nor fair. They were engineered to silence the democratic voices of millions. As if crushing democracy at the ballot box wasn't enough, Pakistan's rulers then turned their knives to the judiciary. Through the 26th constitutional amendment, they rewrote the rules of justice. They stacked the Judicial Commission with politicians, loyalists, stripping judges of independence. Our courts, once a check for executive power, became a tool of the power. Previously, judicial appointments were driven largely by senior judges, themselves ensuring a measure of autonomy and judicial independence. It subordinates the independence of judiciary to political interest, erodes public confidence, no longer impartial, and became an extension of the executive. It violates the Pakistan Constitution itself, from Article 175, which enshrines the separation of power, to Article 10, which guarantees every individual the right to a fair trial before an impartial, competent court. The UN Special Rapporteur on Independence and Judges and Lawyers has said, quote, real risk to judicial independence and individual rights to a fair hearing by a competent, independent, and impartial tribunal. The ICJ has described it as, quote, a serious threat to independence of judiciary. In 2023, a Supreme Court bench declared that civilians could not be tried in military courts. However, the 26th Amendment, a larger hand-picked bench, reversed that ruling. This is not justice. This is a colonial tool of intimidation, resurrected to silence dissent. Pakistan now virtually stands alone in the world by allowing military trials of civilians under a constitution that supposedly guarantees its fair trial and due protest. The ICJ says it's a travesty of justice, glaring surrender of human rights. I want to add that these military courts, after May 9th, 2023, convicted 104 civilians, mostly PTI supporters, voters, or activists, were sentenced to a prison term of up to 10 years. Every single one of them was convicted, so 100% conviction rate. These trials were held in secret, in dark rooms where family and public were barred from attending. No charge sheets or judgments have been published till date. Trials happen Documents are hidden from lawyers and the legal team, so not a single document can leave that courtroom till date. Judges are army officers, and appeals are given not to civilian court judges, but rather to the army chief himself, who will then hand it down to his subordinates to make a tribunal, to come out with whatever decision they want with no justification or evidence. Even the sentences are arbitrary. Some were jailed for a year, others were jailed for a decade. No clear reason except political punishment. An example is Barrister Hassan Khan Niazi, Imran Khan's nephew, who was sentenced to 10 years despite minor allegations. This is a purge, it's not justice. It violates Pakistan's own constitution, as I mentioned earlier. It violates international law. Article 14 of the ICCPR demands fair public trials in independent courts. From the US State Department to the EU, to the UK, Human Rights Watch, and the ICJ, the world is united in condemning Pakistan's military trials on civilians. Pakistan's Supreme Court, once a beacon of hope, has wavered under pressure, green-lighting the sham proceedings. And what about the voices that are trying to tell these stories? Freedom of speech in Pakistan is dying. Journalists have been arrested, abducted, tortured, or driven in exile. Dr. Moin Pirzada, one sitting right here. Independent shutdowns and social media blackouts are now a standard tactics to bury dissent. YouTube channels criticizing the government or the establishment vanished overnight. TV anchors are blacklisted if they dare to speak even Imran Khan's name, which is forbidden on national television. I appear on international media myself, but I'm not allowed to appear on local media. The consequences of this are deadly. From senior anchors like Arshad Sharif, one of Pakistan's most respected journalists who fled the country under threats for his life and continued reporting from abroad, was assassinated in Kenya. There are many cases of exile of our journalists that are abroad. Either they have to take a sabbatical if they don't toe the line, or they have to take exile. Most recently, a magistrate ordered nearly 30 YouTube channels to shut down simply because they expose the truth. Google wants them to take a legal stay in the High Court, which is not possible for those who are in exile. If they go to Pakistan, we know what torture is coming next. I want to, as this repression continues, the rigging of elections, the capturing the courts, military trials, the silencing of media, it all leads back to one man and one thing: the elephant in the room, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. Since 2022, he has faced relentless prosecution. Over 200 legal cases have been he's been charged with. From cases like the Iddat case, which is a ridiculous illegal marriage case, to murder charges, to one that him and his wife, Bushra Imran Khan, have been charged for, the Al-Qadir case. The Al-Qadir case was 190 million pounds, which was a personal settlement between a property developer and the NCA, National Crime Agency of the UK, which then got deposited into the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Nothing to do with our government, nothing to do with Imran Khan. The money was deposited directly there, earning interest. That same property developer developed a university in a trust, which Imran Khan and his wife were trustees of. All have agreed that there's been no financial benefit. In fact, 200 plus students have studied for free. This is the first time in a country where a husband and wife have been imprisoned for giving university level education for free to 200 odd children. Abduction, breaking into homes, trashing of their personal property, abduction of children, torture, using women as a tool to get the politicians and the men out to surrender themselves is the first time we've seen this in Pakistani history. On November 26, more known as the Islamabad massacre, Pakistani people took to the streets to protest peacefully. In exchange, they were met with an iron fist. 12 people were killed. Even a dear colleague of mine, Muhammad Idris, who was my worker and friend, was shot in the stomach and died. The government claimed no casualties and claimed that they didn't use any ammunition. Thanks to international media, BBC, Reuters, and The Independent, they unearthed 12 deaths from that protest itself. As others I know will speak about, and the co-chairs have said, the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has declared Imran Khan's imprisonment as illegal and demands an immediate release. Imran Khan remains the most popular figure in Pakistani history and remains the most popular leader of a political party till date. I want to just briefly, just before I conclude, add that Imran Khan and his wife are in solitary confinement for over 23 hours a day. They are in inhumane conditions. Bugs and insects are deliberately released into their cell, which is not even a cell of what one should get when he's a former prime minister legally. Their prisoner rights are abused. They aren't given fresh water, substandard food in 50 degrees temperature. They say that they have some form of cooling, but what they do is they cut off the electricity. Intimidation in front of his wife is done by a supervisor beating up a subordinate in front of her to intimidate her. This is all being done so Imran Khan can see his wife in mental torture and then try to break his will. This is unfortunately not going to happen. Imran Khan, his colleagues that are in prison, from our two-time former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi to our 70-year-old Health Minister Yasmin Rashid, are all facing arbitrary detention for years now. I call upon all the esteemed members here today. The choice is clear. We either let it slide into further dictatorship under the cover of law, or we stand with the people who yearn for democracy, dignity, and justice. Lastly, I just say the people of Pakistan deserve to choose their leaders fairly, to speak without fear, to live under laws that protect them, not persecute them. I thank you for your time. I urge you to stand with 250 million people of Pakistan and look away from the few hand-picked few. Thank you very much.